He always wanted to be the best and was willing to work as hard as it took to be that. And we could all see, that he was a winner at that age. And I've always believed winners are winners long before they win. And picking them out before they win was very easy with Michael Jackson.
The following year, he moved the Jackson 5 to California to begin grooming them as Motown's next hit-making act. In a later interview, he described the group as the last big stars to come rolling off my assembly line. While the older brothers stayed with Berry, Marlon and Michael moved in with Motown queen Diana Ross. The move was all part of a cunning marketing plan to attach Motown's newest act to one of its biggest stars. The press kit later claimed that Diana had personally discovered the group and introduced them to Motown. The next step was to buy the group out of their contract with the Steeltown label, which had released 3 Jackson 5 singles the previous year. Written by Berry Gordy and the Corporation, the Jackson 5's first single, I Want You Back, hit #1 in 1970 and made 11-year-old Michael an instant sensation. They followed up with 3 more consecutive Billboard #1s. Within a year, Jackson Mania was sweeping the nation. In 1971, Motown decided to capitalize on the surging popularity of their youngest star by launching a spin-off solo career for Michael. As well as landing a top 5 hit with the single Got to Be There, he also sang the title track to the movie Ben. Taken from his second solo album of the same name, it was to be the first #1 single of his solo career.
They're back there doing it together, and he just sort of grew up under the Motown banner. And while most people think that he had no fun in his childhood, he did a lot that brought joy to him.
But with Michael and the rest of the Jackson 5 maturing musically as well as physically, they felt stifled and blamed their declining success on Motown's refusal to grant them creative control. In 1975, they made the move to CBS. After another 3 years of touring and recording with the Jacksons, Michael was ready for his next big adventure when he got the call from his former landlady and ex-Motown stablemate, Diana Ross. Diana had been cast as Dorothy in the big screen version of the Broadway musical The Wiz. Directed by Sidney Lumet and set in New York City, it was to be an all-black reworking of the 1939 adaptation of Frank Baum's Wizard of Oz. Signing on to play the brainless Scarecrow, it gave Michael a chance to flex his acting muscles. It also introduced him to arranger, composer, and producer extraordinaire Quincy Jones. Quincy had been so impressed with Michael's dedication to nailing the graceful moves of the Scarecrow in The Wiz that when he got the call to co-produce the young singer's next album, he jumped at the chance. The result of their first collaboration was the 1979 smash Off the Wall, which had one reviewer hailing Michael as probably the best singer in the world right now in terms of style and technique. Rolling Stone magazine pronounced Michael's feathery, timbered tenor extraordinarily beautiful. Michael wrote 3 songs on the album, including the #1 single, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Other songs were provided by Paul McCartney and fellow former child star Stevie Wonder, who co-wrote I Can't Help It. The album's title song and the hit Rock With You were penned by British songwriter Rod Temperton. Off the Wall became the first album by a solo artist to generate 4 U.S. top 10 hits, and has since gone on to sell over 20 million copies worldwide. At 21 years old, Michael Jackson had mastered the transition from cute child prodigy to full-blown pop superstar. Now he was public property. Everywhere he went, people loved him, and Michael loved them right back. Some loved him for his music. For others, it was his dancing. But for so many more fans, it was Michael Jackson's importance as a role model that earned their admiration. For thousands of African Americans, his incredible mainstream success turned him into an ambassador for race relations. Mobbed by fans wherever he went, people of all colors were chanting his name in the streets, queuing for hours for a glimpse of him, then fainting at the sight of him. With Michael egging them on, they would even chase him across highways. Children from every corner of the globe wanted to sing like him, dress like him, and dance like him. But there could only ever be one Michael Jackson. And in 1982, he was on the verge of boldly going where no other entertainer had ever gone before. On November the 30th, 1982, the world was introduced to the album that would go down in history as the biggest seller of all time. Thriller, his second collaboration with Quincy Jones, was the result of Michael's determination to create the perfect record. Locked away in Westlake Studios in LA with a production budget of $750,000, they emerged with an album that would spend 37 weeks at the top of Billboard charts and would spawn an unprecedented 7 top 10 singles.
I remember not getting my platinum album for singing on PYT, singing the backgrounds on that. Yeah, it was great. What I really remember, though, from Thriller was being in Mike's car and him playing me the entire album. Whenever he would finish a project, he'd share it with me because we were like this growing up. And I remember loving each and every song. I was just, what, 16, something like that.
According to journalist and biographer J. Randy Taraborelli, Thriller stopped selling like a leisure album and began selling like a household staple. It also spawned a bonanza in merchandising sales. Alongside Michael Jackson dolls, T-shirts, and other memorabilia, there were millions to be made from sales of the making of Michael Jackson's Thriller documentary. The so-called one-man rescue team for the music business even had future President George Bush eating out of his gloved hand.